A major warming trend across North America that will bring the warmest temperatures since December, if you can believe it or not. And we're going to see a quiet weather pattern turn very active, especially as we go into early March with more winter storm potential. Winter is not over. Don't put your snow shovels and snow boots away just yet. I think if you live into the northern and northeastern U.S., we still could have some winter storm potential into the month of March. If you are new here to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We are only 420 subscribers away from 129,000. You want to help me get there? Subscribe to the channel. We'll give you the most accurate and reliable weather information here on YouTube. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up and sharing this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely do appreciate that as well. Now let's look at our temperature anomalies here on this last day of the weekend on Sunday, February 23rd. Notice a lot more orange and red here on the maps versus the blue and the purples and pinks like we saw just a few days ago, which means a warming trend is underway, especially across the western half of the United States and up into Canada. Here are your high temperatures across the central U.S., known as the Heartland, as we go into this afternoon. Notice the 60 and 50 degree lines go all the way up there into the Dakotas, especially South Dakota there and into parts of Nebraska, into parts of Iowa as well. A little bit cooler up here into to the Madison, Wisconsin area, Green Bay, Milwaukee, and the lakefront there in Chicago, over into Michigan, into Grand Rapids, just simply because we got those cooler lake waters holding our temperatures down around the freezing mark. But even that will be a much warmer day compared to what we've had. Now, here's we go into the morning hours to start the work week on your Monday, February 24th. Notice our temperatures don't drop a whole lot. A lot of us are waking up to temperatures in the low and the mid 30s, and a lot of us above freezing. So that means that'll go to work on our snowpack and start to melt some of our snow we have seen from our recent winter storms. Let's look at the western U.S. Same deal here, especially the South, California, as you would expect, Arizona, New Mexico, southern Nevada, a lot of areas here in the 60s and 70s, even a couple 80s being observed into far southern California and southwest Arizona and the desert areas this afternoon. Up here into Montana, areas around 40, 50 degrees. Believe it or not, just a few days ago, wind chills around 40 to as much as 60 degrees below zero. What a turnaround this is here this afternoon to the 40s and 50s up here. Same thing here with some 50s in Wyoming as well. And here's where we go as we start the work week, Monday morning, February 24th. Notice we're not going to drop a whole lot here into the mid 30s into eastern Montana, around 40 degrees in eastern Wyoming there in Colorado, and only dropping into the 50s and 60s for Southern California, Southern Nevada, Arizona, and parts of New Mexico. How about the eastern U.S.? Here are your high temperatures this Sunday afternoon, February 23rd. Coldest areas with a denser snowpack up there into Maine, northern New Hampshire, Vermont, and upstate New York. Temperatures still held down there below the freezing mark into the middle and upper 20s. But as we start to slowly melt off our snow, our days should become a little bit warmer each day as we melt our snowpack here across the interior sections of the Northeast. Areas further south into the Southeast, like the Carolinas, especially the Eastern Carolinas, Georgia, and down into Florida, 60s, 70s can be observed, maybe even 80 degrees down in the Naples area this afternoon. And looking here at Monday morning, again, you can see the dense snowpack up here into Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, even parts of Massachusetts, holding our temperatures pretty cold there into the single digits above or below zero. Wind chills likely going below zero here, but to take away a little bit warmer of a trend across the mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley, starting off in the 20s and 30s. Down here to the southeast, Gulf Coast, and into Florida, a lot of 40s, 50s, and 60s to start your work week there on Monday. Now, we do have a couple of storm systems we are tracking, but it is quiet in other parts of the country. So the Midwest, the Great Lakes for the most part, and into the Northeast, pretty quiet to end the weekend here. We are watching some rain moving in across the Pacific Northwest. This is also intermingling with some higher elevations, so some snow can be expected across Idaho and into western Montana. And then we're seeing heavier rains and some general thunderstorm activity along the Gulf Coast here from New Orleans into Hattiesburg and up into Jackson, Mississippi there, Mobile, and over to Panama City this afternoon. We put this in motion as we go through the afternoon afternoon, the heavy rain along the Gulf Coast will just kind of remain parallel along the Gulf Coast, moving from west to east. So an unsettled day across portions of New Orleans, into Jackson, into the Gulfport area, Mobile, and over here to Tallahassee, Panama City. Just an unsettled day with some rainfall, low clouds around. Probably a great day to stay inside and watch some movies out there. And looking here at the Pacific Northwest, you can see a lot of rainfall moving in, a fire hose of moisture across Washington State, Oregon, into Idaho, and the higher elevations of Idaho into western Montana, especially even western parts of Wyoming, northern Utah. We have some heavier snow that can be expected into the evening, and that will carry us over into Monday. Now, there is going to be a clipper system too that we're going to watch with a glancing blow of some heavier snow, mostly with the snow staying on the Canadian side over into Ontario, but some upper Great Lakes rainfall or a wintry mix will be possible. That'll be more likely into the upper peninsula of Michigan into your Monday morning, and northern lower Michigan as well. As far as severe weather is concerned, we're not worried about severe weather outbreaks. We're certainly really not looking at any severe weather in general here. If you see the lighter greens, these are just general garden variety thunderstorms. Same thing up here into the Pacific Northwest as well for today, and then going into tomorrow. Notice South Florida gets some heavy rain, some thunderstorm activity that is non-severe, and then across portions of Seattle, Portland, down to Eugene and Medford, we have the potential for some heavier thunderstorms there, but although those as well will be non-severe into your Monday. Here's the precipitation that we can see over the next 24 hours in the United States, heaviest across the Pacific Northwest and near the Gulf Coast and into Florida. First, looking at the Pacific Northwest, you can see rainfall heavy from Seattle down to Portland, Eugene, Medford, all the way down into northwestern California. A lot of that moisture trickling inward into portions of Idaho and western Montana. A lot of this rainfall will be anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, with some isolated totals up to 6 inches through your Monday. And looking at the higher elevations for snow, we are talking about the potential of 36 to as much as 48 inches of snow here. So that would be 3 to 4 feet across parts of Idaho, western Montana, western Wyoming, and northern Utah going through your Monday. We also mentioned the thunderstorms and moving parallel from west to east along the Gulf Coast down here, New Orleans, Hattiesburg, up to Jackson, Mississippi, Gulfport, Mississippi, into the Mobile area, over there into Panama City and Tallahassee, maybe as far east as Tampa Bay there. Could be seeing some heavy rainfall, 1 to 3 inches, the heaviest around New Orleans. That could give us some isolated flash flooding here and ponding of water on those roadways. Now, going into the new work week, Monday, February 24th through Friday, February 28th, we do have a big ridge of high pressure across the west, and this is going to promote warmer temperatures as we go through the week ahead, with a little bit of a trough evident across the eastern U.S. with some cooler temperatures, but we will still be warming up over there too. Notice the temperature anomaly map, a lot of us showing here orange and reds. That means above normal temperatures as we finish off the month here of February. And going back to the height anomaly map, something to also point out here with our storm track, we have in the blue, that's our trough, that's our storms, right? Up here into the Northeast Pacific and the Aleutian Islands and Alaska. Over top, the apex of that ridge will be our storm track. They'll slide from northwest to southeast, down from southern Canada into the Great Lakes and into the Northeast before lifting over top of our ridge in the North Atlantic as well. And here's our polar vortex that's been bringing all our cold air finally retreating further off to the north as well, for what that's worth. So looking here at the precipitation anomalies, looking at a lot of green up here into Canada, the northern tier of the U.S., brown here on the downwind side of that ridge, because we just don't have a lot of moisture behind our rain system today into Monday along the Gulf Coast. So it'll be drying out. Florida, though, especially South Florida, Miami, Key West, over there toward Naples, Fort Myers here, even Fort Lauderdale could be seeing some pretty heavy rain as we go through the week ahead. So let's look here at the European model, showing the potential for some clipper systems, bringing some rain and or snow showers to southern Canada and the northern tier of the United States. Also looking at some rain there in south central Florida on Monday. Some of that could be heavy. Now going into Tuesday, here comes a lot of energy across southern Canada and the northern tier of the United States. This could bring us every 1 to 3 days a rain or snow mix here. Some areas getting all snow, some areas getting all rain, some areas getting both rain and snow. And then as we go through Thursday, we can see maybe a bigger system system trying to develop here in the Northeast. Right now, a lot of dry air with that. And then a clipper system from Manitoba into Ontario could bring us a couple inches of snow to end the work week there on Friday, February 28th. Let's look at early March, okay? Early March, we're going to be seeing a little bit of some cooler weather. Don't put your snow boots and your winter coats and snow shovels away just yet. I think the cooler air across the eastern, especially the northeast United States toward the Great Lakes are cooler right now. They'll remain cool into early March with a little bit of a ridge spiking in western Canada that will promote cooler temperatures across the east. And notice, while it's not, widespread blue here on the map, which means below normal temperatures, it does have some blue here, which means there is going to be some colder periods into early March. I think we're going to have a lot of variability. Might have a couple warmer days in there, might have a couple colder days in there here, and they're kind of going to average out as we go through the first 7 days of March. Very active pattern is evident here on the longer range ensemble guidance here, with a lot of green, and that's more favored in the central and the eastern U.S., also eastern and southeastern Canada as well, and more of a tendency for at least normal to below normal precip here down into South Texas and rounding up across the western U.S. and up into British Columbia, where it's been so wet as of late. Looking here at the European model as first for Saturday, March 1st, we do have a clipper system that is moving across Ontario and Quebec, mostly with snow there, the upper Great Lakes region with a wintry mix, and then rain down here toward Pennsylvania right now. Not a forecast, but a little bit of a trend that we're seeing here. And then as we go into Sunday, we have a bigger system trying to develop here in the heartland of the country, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday that week, and that could bring a big severe weather chance. I think the first big severe weather chance of March anyway, down here across the deep south as we go into that 4th, 5th, and 6th time frame of March, maybe a winter storm on the northern side, and then that'll push further to the east, mostly coastal rain here on the European model, and then wrap around snow on the back side to end that week. Now let's look at the GFS model. A little bit different of a solution here, a little bit colder of a solution too. We got that clipper system moving through as we saw, and then a bigger system is still evident here, maybe a little bit more suppressed with the colder air. This could bring us a heavier snow event across the Midwest rather than southern Canada, with still some severe weather down toward Dixie Alley there, something to keep an eye on. And then another big storm right on its heels right after that as well, with more snow in similar areas. So if we looked at the European model, again, take this with a grain of salt. This will still change 1.5 million times before we get here, but just to give you the trends, and that's why we forecast long range, just give you the trends. If you guys have vacations coming up or something like that, we can give you the information that could kind of help you steer you in the right direction. So looking here at the heavier rainfall in the Gulf Coast states up here toward the mid-Atlantic Northeast on the European model, showing a lot of yellows and oranges. That could be a few inches of rain, and then a little bit drier there into the Ohio Valley, and it doesn't have as much snow on here. The snow is more into the northern plains, the very far upper Midwest like Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then the interior sections of the Northeast like we've been seeing all winter. With the GFS model, it's wetter in the Ohio Valley, so there's some disagreement there, and it's also snowier in the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and a heavy snowstorm for interior sections north and west of the I-95 corridor, interior sections of the Northeast. So there is a little bit of disagreement. The GFS model is a colder solution. The European model is a warmer solution. As we get closer, we're going to see which model wins out. The truth may lie in between, where we have some cool air battling warm air, so maybe an ice storm could be the answer. We'll just have to wait and see on that. Now looking here at the ensemble guidance, just for an average, kind of a mean here, you can see in general the central and eastern U.S. will be very active, and that could mean some snow, but the snow line's probably going to have a tendency to be a little bit further north, just due to the March sun angle being higher in the sky, and also creating a lot more of the colder air being further to the north. So that's what we're seeing here in the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, especially again, I-95 corridor onto the north and west. Southeastern Canada, big signal here for some snow too into the first week of March, the first 7-8 days. Southern Ontario and Quebec, so Toronto, Montreal, some of these areas, Thunder Bay, could be seeing a little bit more of snow in early March. Thank you for watching. If you are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We'll give you the most accurate, reliable weather information here on YouTube. We're only 420 subscribers away from 120 29,000. You want to help me get there? Subscribe to the channel if you aren't subscribed yet. Make sure to do so. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, especially if you did enjoy it and you found it very informative, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. That's all I got for you today, folks. If you want to leave a comment down in the comment section down below, any questions about any storm systems we talked about, the warming trend, the cooler air into early March, anything weather related, I'll be able to answer those questions after the video. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful and safe rest of your Sunday out there.